Coming up, Kazakhstan and Uzbekistan signed a document on allied relations. More details in our news digest. Silicon Valley in Kazakh way. IT companies in Kazakhstan attract over $300,000 of investments. Stay tuned to learn more. The legendary music band Mukassan turns 55. Kazakh filmmakers shot a feature film dedicated to their works. Details next. Kazakhstan and Uzbekistan signed a declaration on allied relations. The talks between the leaders of the two countries were held today in the Akhorda presidential palace during the state visit of Shavkat Mirziyoyev to Nur-Sultan. They discussed a wide range of issues of bilateral strategic partnership, paying special attention to ensuring stability and security in the region.
Это действительно новый уровень наших взаимоотношений.
This is a truly new level of our relations, since before we relied on the principles of a strategic partnership. Therefore, I believe that the package of documents to be signed today will give an additional impetus to cooperation between our two countries. Moreover, we agreed to instruct the governments of our countries to take the strongest possible measures in order to bring the trade volume to 3 billion in the near future, and after that, to bring the trade volume to 10 billion.
А затем вывести объем торговли до 10 миллиардов.
President of Uzbekistan in turn thanked Kazakh President Kassym-Jomart Tokayev for the warm welcome.
В преддверии вот такого праздника 30-летия независимости Казахстана, я думаю, это тоже не случайно.
It's a symbolic visit on the eve of such a holiday as the 30th anniversary of Kazakhstan's independence. I think that it's not a coincidence, because we appreciate the long centuries of friendship between our peoples, and the ground we lay will only strengthen our relationship today. A lot of work has been done. An event was chaired by Prime Minister. Several forums took place as well. This gave a big push to the figures that you talked about. According to our estimates, the trade turnover will be more than 4 billion by the end of the year.
От тех цифр, которые вы сегодня сказали, товарооборот до конца года, по нашим подсчетам, будет более 4 миллиардов.
Within the visit of the Uzbek delegation, the parties signed a number of agreements in mechanical engineering inclusively. The memorandum, worth more than 200 billion tenge, provides for an increase in the assortment of the produced model range of cars assembled in Kazakhstan. Also, the agreements of the parties included enhanced cooperation in agricultural machinery sector. Switzerland is one of Kazakhstan's largest investors. Over the past 15 years, this European country has invested $28 billion in the domestic economy. Kazakh business also invests in the Swiss economy, but the volume of these investments is much more modest. Moreover, Switzerland is one of the leading trade partners of Kazakhstan. The products made in Kazakhstan are highly valued there. Representatives of domestic enterprises actively supply energy commodities, precious stones and metals, as well as agricultural products to the Alpine region. In the near future, the countries also intend to assemble cars using European technology and more.
The
Stadler company enters our country. It is the world leader in the production of passenger cars. The production will be deployed with localization. This will enable us to gain competencies, attract investments and new technologies.
They will be ready very soon, that the first recycle plant can be built in It's planned to be built in Taras. It's quite well developed.
It's worthwhile noting that investors who cooperate with the Astana International Financial Center, which is one of its kind in Central Asia, get good preferences. Presently, 8 Swiss companies have already been registered at the IAFC site. It is a very interesting experience for Switzerland to develop cooperation with Kazakhstan, and I believe that the Swiss-Kazakh cooperation will be enhanced in the coming years.
Будет лишь только укрепляться.
Kazakhstan's GDP will grow by 3.8% in 2021 and 4.2% next year. In many respects, the acceleration of economic activity will be facilitated by government support measures, experts say. According to forecasts by representatives of the Eurasian Development Bank, the implementation of 10 national projects launched this year will give impetus to the development of the country's economy in the coming years. Inflation will slow down in 2022 and approach the upper threshold of the target of 4 to 6%. This will be facilitated by a relaxation of global transport and logistics barriers and an increase in the base rate.
Kazakh IT companies have attracted more than $300,000 of investment. 94 domestic firms signed contracts and agreements worth $875,000. This was made possible by Astana Hub's special Scalerator program. According to the Technopark spokespeople, the project helped participants to enter new markets and establish their work in other countries. Startups, together with experts, studied competitors for 8 weeks and prepared a marketing strategy for entering foreign trading platforms. Thus, participants received professional assistance in finding business partners from top specialists, and the result was not long in coming.
По цифрам было всего изначально 234 заявок.
As for the numbers, in total we received 235 applications. 94 IT companies have graduated. We had 3 directions, namely there were 30 companies that are focused on North America and Europe, 30 companies working with CIS countries, and 34 companies concentrated on Southeast Asia. Of these 94 companies, there were about 40 contracts. As for the plans to work with other countries, we have one big goal for 2025 as part of the assignment, which is to make $500 million in exports of IT services.
Сделать $500 миллионов по экспорту IT-услуг.
The epidemiological situation in Kazakhstan is improving. 632 coronavirus cases were detected in the regions of the country in the last day. The highest single-day case count was registered in the capital. 102 people caught the infection in Nur-Sultan, 101 in Karaganda region, 69 in Akmola region. Since the beginning of the pandemic, the total number of confirmed COVID-19 cases has approached 976,000. Meanwhile, the red zone in the country has finally emptied. North Kazakhstan region was the last to leave it. It moved into the yellow zone that already includes Akmola, Karaganda, Pavlodar and Kostanay regions, as well as the city of Nur-Sultan. All other regions are in the safe green zone. Registration for paid vaccination with Pfizer started in Almaty, the city's public health department informs. Inoculations will be provided in only 3 polyclinics of the metropolis. The registration is carried out by phone numbers indicated on the official website of the department. However, the timing and cost of the vaccination fee have not yet been announced. According to the World Health Organization, the new Omicron variant of coronavirus has been detected in almost 40 countries, but no deaths have yet been reported. The WHO informed that it could take several more weeks to determine how contagious the strain is. Earlier, the organization decided to classify the new strain of coronavirus as the variant of concern. Meanwhile, Brazil cancelled New Year's Eve celebrations due to the Omicron variant. The country detected its first case of the new variant of coronavirus. There were no festivities last year either because of the pandemic. Now Brazil takes the second place in the world after the United States in terms of the death toll from COVID-19. Over 600,000 people have died in the country. The scientific committee of Rio de Janeiro state concluded that it is necessary to avoid crowded places and that these events could pose a high risk. Therefore, it was decided to cancel all events. 3 skiers were killed, 2 were injured in an avalanche in Austria. The victims were citizens of this country aged from 19 to 24. They were members of a group that consisted of 11 people who went on a ski tour in Salzburg province. 8 of them were hit by a 200-meter slab of snow as they ascended a slope. Rescuers were able to find bodies of the 2 skiers with the help of search devices. The third one died in a hospital. The first launches from the Baiterek space rocket complex will be made in 2023, said Director General of Roscosmos Dmitry Rogozin. The project documentation was approved. Kazakhstan is responsible for the creation of ground infrastructure through modernization of the Zenit-M space rocket complex. Russia, in turn, develops launch vehicles that are planned to be launched from there. They intend to allocate almost $855 million for this. Kazakhstan and Russia signed a contract to create the Baiterek space rocket complex in October 2020. It should ensure the launch of the Soyuz 5 launch vehicle and its possible modification with a high level of environmental safety.
Они должны завершить эту работу хотя бы месяца за 3 до пуска.
They should complete this work at least 3 months before the launch. That is, by August 2023. They only have a year and a half to work. This is a very tight deadline. We will be able to make the first launch in December 2023 after all ground technological tests. It will be without a payload, with a weight and size model to test all systems. I think that we will start firing spacecraft from the second launch.
Макетом для проверки всех систем, а думаю, со второго пуска начнем уже стрелять космическими аппаратами.
Kazakh residents began traveling within their homeland more frequently. To a greater extent, this was facilitated by the pandemic and the closed borders in connection with it. For example, over 2 million people have spent their holidays in the Kazakh resorts over the 6th month of this year. This is twice as much as in the same period in 2020. According to economists' estimations, during this time, the country's hotels and sanatoriums earned just over 44 billion tenge. They predict that the tourist arrivals at the domestic resorts will continue to grow. This will be facilitated by the 10-pronged strategy for the development of the sector. In addition, the subsidy for tour operators will amount to 15,000 tenge for each tourist in the coming year. There are also plans to digitize the travel registration system in 2021.
E-қонақ ақпараттық жүйесі ол деген елімізге келетін шетелдік азаматтар.
The e-Qonaq information system allows to register foreign travelers arriving in the country and to accommodate them without visiting migration and other services. We will be able to see all the information thanks to the fast reading of any country's passport. In the future, we will be able to track how many tourists have arrived in our country online, as well as from which states they came and so on.
Біз бір жүйеден көре аламыз оның бәрін. Сол ақпаратты мысалы алдағы уақытта біз қолданып қай жерлерге қаншама туристер қай елден келетінін көріп отырмыз онлайн режимде.
Kazakhstan accumulated more than 16 billion tons of waste by the beginning of this year. Radioactive waste, man-made mineral formations and overburden are not included in this volume. According to the Informative and Analytical Center of Environment Protection, the state cadastre recorded 13.5 billion tons of non-hazardous and 2.8 tons of hazardous waste. The real picture may be different given the existing unauthorized landfills. In 2020, more than 8,000 unauthorized landfills were found and 40% of them are located in Akmola, Karaganda and East Kazakhstan regions. This is a progressing problem that we know about not only thanks to raids of local environmental departments and the public, but also through advanced IT technologies. Such IT technologies, namely the digital control system for disposal of construction waste, are actively being used in the capital. An area of over 800 square kilometers has been digitized in Nur-Sultan to date. The digital map contains diagrams of networks, roads, topography, aerography, green spaces and landfills. With the introduction of a new environmental code, our waste classifier will cover all types of waste to date. Also, with the use of new modern IT solutions and with the help of satellite monitoring, we think that it will be possible to solve this problem at a higher level. The solution of the waste problem cannot be postponed. It's necessary to implement such digital control system for garbage disposal in all major cities of the country.
The legendary group Mukassan is turning 55 years old. Domestic cinematographers shot a feature film dedicated to the work of famous musicians to mark this significant anniversary date. Filming began in 2020. According to the filmmakers, the movie will premiere next year. A noteworthy detail is that the entire film is based on a real story and tells about how, more than half a century ago, young students combine their talents and reach a professional level in music. The film is about a friendship that will one day be threatened. The film directors worked in a completely new musical genre and used techniques not previously present in domestic cinema. There is no doubt that the film, based on the band's background, which was popular in Europe, Asia, and even the United States, will never lose its relevance, members of the film crew said. They are sure that the film will undoubtedly find its place in the treasury of the Kazakh cinema.